Before beginning to install the window, place the sash on the hardware table and fasten it. Then you can start installation beginning from fixing of the bottom sash hinge. In order to do that, use the special jig and drill holes to fasten the hinge to the sash. Insert the hinge into these holes. This hinge is designed for a sash weighing up to 100 kg. AXOR offers bottom sash hinge with and without gasket pressure adjustment for sashes weighing up to 100 kg and bottom sash hinges with steel pins with and without gasket pressure adjustment for sashes weighing up to 130 kg. Fasten the drill-in corner hinge using 4 40mm screws. Since rebate width of our sash is more than 600 mm, it is recommended to use an additional middle lock along the sash's width. You can install it either separately with 4 mm gap from the rebate groove or together with the bottom extension. But before fixing into the rebate groove, you need to join them together. If the window comes with security elements, you have to install a corner transmission with a security mushroom pin and extension lock instead of the bottom extension and middle lock. Place the bottom extension and the middle lock into the hardware groove. Fasten the middle lock with screws. In order to fasten the hardware on the sash, use 4 25mm screws. Then install the top corner transmission. We recommend installing it as the pin is at the top of the sash. Use narrow corner transmission to assemble sashes whose rebate width is between 300–400. If the window comes with step-by-step ventilation, use the appropriate corner transmission. If the window comes with security elements, use the corner transmission with mushroom pin. The next element is gear. Cut it to the required size using a punching machine. The gear has the open mark, which means up. Fasten the gear to the sash according to this mark. Note that the gap between the gear and corner transmission should not exceed 2 mm. AXOR also offer constant gears with fixed handle position and a tilt and turn gear with 7.5 mm backset. Fasten the gear by using screws. The next phase is installation of a rung operation safety device with sash lifter. Place this element into the special place on the gear and fasten with a screw. Now install the middle lock. There are several types of middle lock depending on the height of the sash. In our installation, we can use a standard middle lock with one pin or with an additional pin in the top hinge area. The middle lock with an additional pin is used when additional gasket pressure is required. AXOR has middle lock with one pin and middle lock with an additional mushroom security pin. You can install the middle lock on the sash as a separate element or by joining it with the stay arm this way. Install the middle lock with the stay arm on the sash. fasten the stay arm with screws.
Now you need to install the top sash hinge. This element must be mounted by using a 4mm Allen key as shown. Next, fasten the middle lock by using screws. To prepare holes for the top and bottom sash hinge, use the special jig with 3mm standard hinge holes. For reinforced hinges for 130 kg sash, use the jig with 3 and 6 mm holes. It has clamps for fixing on the frame. Place the jig on the corner of the frame's groove and clamp the fixer. Drill holes using a 3mm drill bit. Repeat the same operation for the bottom sash hinge. Fasten the jig on the frame and drill screw holes by using the jig. Now, rotate the frame. Use special jigs to install standard locking plates on the frame. Attach the jig and put the locking plate into the special place under the fixator. Then, screw it on. To fix locking plates of gear, use the special telescopic jig by placing it on the inner part of the frame and scratching it out all the way. Place the standard locking plate and lifting plate into appropriate positions and screw with them. After that, install the tilt locking plate. Use a safety tilt locking plate for the bottom corner transmission with a mushroom pin. Screw the plate on. Use its own jig to install the locking plate for corner transmission. Use a safety locking plate for the top corner transmission with a security pin. Use the appropriate jig for the locking plate of stay arm. Attach the plate and screw it on. Now let's install the plate for microventilation. If the window comes with step-by-step ventilation, install the special corner transmission and the plate of step-by-step ventilation. Screw on the plates. For middle locking plate, to use a special jig, just put one to install a locking plate into special mounting place. After that, screw it on. Install the top frame hinge on the frame. AXOR also has reinforced top frame hinge for sashes weighing up to 130 kg. Fasten it by using 3.9 32 mm screws according to technical catalog's recommendations. Insert the pin. After that, install the bottom frame hinge. AXOR also has a reinforced bottom frame hinge for sashes weighing up to 130 kg. Fasten the elements. Install the sash on the frame. Tilt the sash by using the handle. Then, insert the pin into the top hinge's hole and push it by using an assembly handle. Close the sash by turning the handle down.